Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take the sources, you share all those articles, the research, the insights, and really boil them down, get to the important stuff. Today, we're diving deep into artificial intelligence, specifically just how incredibly fast everything is evolving. And you've given us a really rich collection of material. I mean, it covers everything from big industry shifts, policy moves, to, groundbreaking new AI models and tools. So our mission here is to cut through all that noise, figure out what's really impactful, and basically give you a shortcut. Help you get truly well-informed on the absolute bleeding edge of AI right now. Honestly, I'm excited just looking at the sheer breadth of info you've pulled together.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? What's really striking is how these sources, taken together, they paint this picture of a super dynamic time for AI. It's not just, oh, look, rapid innovation. It's also this period of critical reflection, thinking about how these advances really shape what's coming next. So we want to help you understand not just what's new, but maybe more importantly, why it actually matters for the future.
Right. So to kick things off, maybe let's zoom out a bit. Look at the wider picture first. The policy stuff, funding, global dynamics, that whole landscape. Because we're definitely seeing a lot more attention from regulators, The FTC, academic voices, they're really pushing for AI policy that's actually based on evidence. And you see the EU, for instance, they've put out this first voluntary code of practice. It's for general purpose AI.
The first step, yeah.
Exactly. It emphasizes transparency, documentation, laying groundwork, really, for maybe tougher laws down the line. And then there was that interesting story about Papers with Code, the site for sharing AI research.
Oh, yeah, that was quick.
It briefly shut down and then, boom, swiftly revived. Partnership with Meta, the original founders.
Right.
That comeback, it really highlights how vital the community is for keeping these shared resources going, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And, if you connect that community aspect to the bigger picture, these policy shifts, the community support, it's all happening while there are some pretty big institutional things going on. And contrasting money flows. Like, look at the Institute of Pure and Applied Mathematics at UCLA, IPM.
Right. Famous place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Known for foundational AI work.
Yeah.
And they're facing potential closure, funding issues.
Wow.
But at the same exact time, you've got just massive investment flooding into AI commercially. Google, Microsoft, Amazon. They're projected to pour, $344 billion into AI tech this year alone?
Billion. That's staggering.
That's quite the paradox, isn't it? Foundational academic research struggling while the commercial side is booming. And then, thinking globally, you've got Switzerland planning to launch an open-source ethical AI model by 2025.
Ethical and open source.
Yeah, trained on supercomputers, supporting over 1,000 languages. The whole idea is radical transparency, integrity, trying to offer an alternative to the big corporate models.
Okay, so that sets the stage. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The core of AI innovation right now, large language models, LLMs. The competition there is just intense.
Oh, absolutely. Fierce.
Look at Anthropic. Their Claude models, apparently, have grabbed a leading share, 32% of the business AI market for certain tasks.
That's right, surpassing OpenAI in some areas.
Especially things like coding assistance, customer support. So they're making real headway.
They certainly are. And it's not just market share. Anthropic's also had this fascinating research breakthrough, something they're calling persona vectors.
Persona vectors? What are those?
So think of them as like specific patterns inside the neural network, patterns that influence how the AI behaves. Things like, is it likely to be sycophantic, overly agreeable, or does it tend to hallucinate, make stuff up? Finding these vectors gives them a potential path to actually control those behaviors better, which is, that's huge for making these things reliable and safe. And this competition, it's showing up in kind of surprising ways too. Like Anthropic apparently revoked OpenAI's access to the Claude API multiple times.
Really? Why?
Policy breaches, contract violations, apparently. It signals, maybe stricter controls are coming, a more siloed future, perhaps, for AI collaboration, less sharing.
Interesting. Okay, so that brings us neatly to OpenAI, obviously the company that really pushed LLMs into the spotlight. What's their play look like now amidst all this?
Well, OpenAI is definitely playing a multifaceted game right now. Lots going on. There's huge anticipation, obviously, for GPT-5 launch expected in August.
Right.
Promises are, better speed, more complex reasoning, multi-step stuff, longer memory. But interestingly, while the hype is massive, some internal chatter suggests it might be more of a modest improvement over GPT-4, not quite the same giant leap.
Okay.
And you've got CEO Sam Altman publicly voicing concerns, right? about the speed of progress, likening it to the Manhattan Project, calling for more oversight. That really frames the stakes involved.
Yeah, that's some heavy framing. What about cost? Is GPT-5 going to price people out?
Well, the speculation is that it could potentially double the cost of using top-tier AI models. But in what seems like a bit of a countermove, OpenAI is also getting ready to release new open-weight AI models alongside GPT-5.
Open weight, so more accessible.
Exactly. The underlying details, the weights, are more available for people to look at, use, build on. So that signals maybe renewed nod towards openness after they'd been leaning more towards closed proprietary models.
Okay, that's a significant shift.
And financially, they're doing pretty well. Secured $8.3 billion in funding, way oversubscribed. Valuation pushed up to $300 billion.
Wow.
ChatGPT alone hit 5 million paid users. They're projecting revenues over $20 billion for 2025.
Incredible numbers.
And they're trying to make things more accessible, too, with ChatGPT Go.
Yeah.
That's a new, cheaper tier, like $10, $15 a month.
Oh, okay.
Comes with some personalization, like pinning chats, custom themes. On the less positive side, privacy concerns popped up again. They had to scrap that public sharing feature for ChatGPT.
Right, I remember that, because Google indexed sensitive chats.
Exactly. It just underlines that ongoing challenge, getting data policies clear and robust. And they're expanding infrastructure globally. First European data center, Stargate, Norway. Fully renewable energy, aiming for over 100,000 NVIDIA GPUs by 2026.
Big build-out.
Yeah. And making strategic investments, too, like backing a Swedish startup, Zafon, that wants to build foundational models and autonomous agents. They call it Litecoin.
So OpenAI is definitely covering a lot of bases. What about Google? They've been an AI powerhouse for ages. How are they competing in this LLM race?
Google's absolutely pushing the envelope. They've introduced DeepThink.
DeepThink.
Supposedly their most powerful AI model yet.
Yeah.
But it's exclusive Gemini Ultra subscribers only. That's $250 a month. It is. But the claim is it outperforms OpenAI and XAI benchmarks. Really advanced multimodal capabilities, handles text, images, audio super smoothly, uses parallel thinking for complex problems. It seems to build on Gemini 2.5.
Impressive tech.
And beyond just the core models, Google Earth has launched this new AI suite for environmental monitoring.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, open access features lets you rapidly analyze environmental changes, better wildfire detection, monitor droughts, glaciers, using AI for, planetary health.
That's great to see, that kind of real-world application. So beyond the big players like OpenAI and Google, what else is shaking up the LLM world?
Well, it's not all smooth sailing. Meta's Llama 4, for example, reportedly didn't perform as well as hoped. And that seems to be pushing some Western developers more towards closed proprietary models, keep the secrets in-house. But interestingly, that vacuum might be fueling innovation elsewhere, particularly in China. Chinese developers, chip makers, they're forming new alliances, really pushing open-weight, open-source AI forward.
So a different dynamic emerging there.
Definitely. And on the open source front generally, Qwen3 Coder is getting a lot of buzz. Excellent open-source model specifically for coding. Fast, accessible, partly thanks to a partnership with Cerebras.
Okay.
And its bigger sibling, Qwen3 235B, that one excels in logic, coding, math, has these huge context windows. Handles a lot of information.
Powerful stuff.
But maybe one of the most intriguing ones, this tiny but mighty HRM model.
HRM, haven't heard of that one.
It's gaining attention because it's apparently outperforming much larger models like Claude 3.5. Gemini, using a totally novel approach. It's token-free.
Token-free, what does that mean?
So most models break text down into tokens, like words or parts of words. HRM processes information differently without that step. It's revolutionary, potentially. Some are even whispering it might be a step towards, artificial general intelligence, AGI.
Wow, okay. That's a big claim.
It is. But it shows the pace of innovation. And we're seeing constant advances across the board, model reasoning, alignment, how we test them with benchmarks like hieroglyph, GSPO studies. What it all kind of points to, I think, is this potential shift. As the core language models themselves get really good, maybe even become commoditized.
Right, like everyone has a decent one.
Exactly. Then the real competitive advantage might shift. It might become less about owning the absolute best core model and more about having unique proprietary data to train it on or specific applications built on top.
That's a huge potential shift in where the value lies, isn't it? Beyond just the raw tech. Okay, let's pivot then. Let's talk about the tangible stuff, the tools, how AI is actually showing up in daily life and work. What's catching your eye there?
Absolutely. So in the creative space, Runway Aleph, that video generation tool, had its general release. The community showcases and challenges coming out of that are just wild. pushing boundaries.
Yeah, some of that AI video stuff is mind-blowing.
Totally. And you've got Google and VO3 showing off these new 3D animation techniques, taking real video and turning it into super lifelike digital motion capture.
Cool. What about for developers?
Tools are evolving fast there, too. LiveLog offers real-time logging for Python inside a fenced area. Gradio makes debugging way easier. DSPy is showing promise for automating tedious stuff, like pulling info from messy PDFs or annotating support tickets, condensing it into efficient scripts.
Nice.
Anycoder has a new model focused just on coding. Cerebras is offering pro-level coding tools using that Qwen3 coder we mentioned, and the open source community keeps delivering. GameFactory released all its resources, letting others build game dev tools.
That's great for indie devs.
Yeah. And there's a new multilingual audio tool using LangChain. Lets you have AI conversations locally with multiple speakers across different media. Big step for global communication tools.
And design?
Figma. They're rolling out their AI coding tool Make into beta for everyone, plus AI-powered image editing, resolution boosting, integrating AI right into the workflow.
Makes sense. What about like a real-world impact outside of tech and creative?
Big one from UC San Diego researchers. They unveiled an AI tool for medical imaging.
Oh, yeah.
It dramatically cuts down the amount of label data needed. They can get effective analysis with up to 20 times fewer examples.
20 times? That's huge.
Massive implications, right? For making advanced medical diagnostics more accessible, cheaper, faster.
Absolutely. That medical imaging development is seriously impactful. So thinking about how all these tools are weaving into society, what broader trends are you seeing?
Well, it raises some important questions, doesn't it? How is this actually changing everyday life? Look at education. Over 70% of teachers globally are apparently using AI tools now. Lesson planning, curriculum ideas.
70% already.
Yeah, which shows the demand, but also screens, we urgently need better training, better digital literacy support for educators.
Good point.
And search habits are changing too. Gen Z particularly seems to be shifting. Less Google, maybe more TikTok, Instagram for finding info. They prefer short, engaging video content.
Right, the visual search.
Exactly. And AI tools are starting to deliver much more personalized results too. It means brands really have to rethink SEO, how they get discovered online.
That's a fundamental shift for marketing. What about the flip side? The safety, the ethics, those crucial discussions, any major developments there?
Yeah, those conversations are more critical than ever. There was a recent study, quite concerning actually. It showed how AI chatbots could be manipulated. With subtle changes to the prompts, they could be made to give out harmful suicide guidance.
Oh, wow. That's disturbing.
It really exposes flaws in the current safety nets. It highlights just how urgent the need is for stronger safeguards. And importantly, human oversight. We can't just let these things run unsupervised.
A stark reminder.
Definitely. And even as these concerns bubble up, you see the big players pushing harder. Apple's intensifying its AI efforts. Big investments. New AI chip. Revamped Siri coming next year. They're clearly eyeing growth, especially in emerging markets, but these safety questions loom large.
So, looking ahead, it feels like all this rapid progress is forcing some deeper thinking within the AI world itself, right?
Absolutely.
We're seeing internal debates surface, questions like, are the leading labs too focused on just one idea of superintelligence? Maybe it's time to step back, revisit the strategic goals more broadly.
But heating the roadmap.
And some predictions are just mind-bending. Talk about AI potentially solving mathematical problems that have stumped humans for centuries. Or even AI starting to improve itself autonomously.
Yeah, that self-improvement idea. That signals a potentially historic transformative phase for the field, if it happens.
So wrapping this all up, what does this mean for you, the listener, trying to make sense of this whirlwind?
Well, I think it really underscores a few things. One is the growing value of thinking holistically about machine learning, end to end.
Yeah.
Looking at the whole system, data, compute, model, application, not just isolated parts.
That's right, the bigger picture.
Exactly. It also highlights how important parallel compute might be right now, processing lots of things at once, possibly even more critical in some ways than just making the model bigger and bigger.
Interesting. Compute over size.
Potentially, yeah, for current systems. And we're seeing research on things like how effective AI-generated messages are in policy debates, and how just labeling something as AI written changes how people react.
Perception matters.
It really does. And it emphasizes why we need regulations based on actual evidence, not just gut feelings or hype. Ultimately, all of this just encourages you to really think about the profound implications. These advancements aren't just about tech specs, they're reshaping society.
What an incredible, almost dizzying tour through the AI landscape. It really is moving at breathtaking speed. Our goal here with this deep dive was to bring some clarity from all those sources you shared, give you those valuable insights, help you feel genuinely well-informed. Hope we manage that.
Yeah, maybe one final thought to leave you with, building on that idea of commoditization. As the core AI models themselves become more widespread, more accessible, maybe even commonplace. While the fight over unique data and killer applications gets fiercer, consider this. How does that fundamentally reshape who actually holds the power? Who gets to define the future of intelligence itself? Is it the model builders, the data holders, the application creators? That's the big question looming, I think.